Shalom, shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, the GMS that rule and teach well in the scriptures. Salutations to all my Akim out that are doing this work in truth and faith and sincerity. What we have is, uproars of the people, okay? Because of this George Floyd, there are many riots that are breaking out, across here in the U.S. and across the world. And the people are sick and they're fed up with it, so this is a little information, a video. I'm going to let it play, and this is a clear indication that we're at the end of Esau Edom's rulership. And so I'm going to let this play.
Today, with the statue of a 17th century slave trader pulled down in Bristol. The monument to Edward Colston, which had stood in the city centre for more than a century, was toppled and pushed into the river. The latest demonstrations came 13 days after the killing of George Floyd by US police, and despite the government here urging people not to take part because of the risk of catching or spreading coronavirus. Tonight, Boris Johnson defended the right to protest peacefully, but said the weekend's demonstrations had been subverted by thuggery. From Bristol, John Kay sent us this report.
300 years after his death, Edward Colston's fall from grace. For centuries, he took pride of place in Bristol, celebrated as a merchant, politician and philanthropist. Now reviled for his part in the slave trade.
That statue represents years of oppression, it represents years of hurt, and just a lot of emotion and hatred that has been built up.
Okay, one thing that I wanted to add is that slavery, is completely allowed, okay, through, the one that we call God, which is Yahweh. Okay, he allows slavery. Okay, slavery wasn't bad. It's the way that it's done. So everything in the world have certain guidelines, okay, certain stipulations on how you are to treat a slave. And Esau Edom has went beyond measure with this deal. And so Esau Edom and the rest of the other heathens are going to pay for the slavery and for the cruelty they have done upon the children of Israel, which are the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So here I'm going to go into a script which explains, basically what happens to those who enslave the children of Israel. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16, and it reads, "Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured." And so, were we not devoured? Okay, were we restored as a nation, as a people? And yes, we were devoured. No, we were not restored as a nation and as a people. Okay, so therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they shall spoil thee. They that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. And a lot of people don't understand what's going on, but this is the Lord's program. This is how the Lord wants it to go down. And so, the prophets, the men of the Lord, understand and know Bible prophecy and understand and know what's going on in these here times. So, I'm going to let this play a little bit and follow up with a few scriptures after that.
Inside of us, we've internalized for years. And that coming down today hopefully signifies change. Hopefully we've sent a message not just to everyone in the UK or the USA, worldwide.
Cast in bronze, now daubed with graffiti, one of Bristol's most famous sons. Some protesters knelt on his neck, a reference to the death of George Floyd across the Atlantic. This had begun as a Black Lives Matter demonstration, but it ended in the historic docks where Colston's ships once sailed.
Gone.
Jasmine.
Esau, this is the end of your kingdom, okay? If you heathens are out there watching, you heathens joined with Esau Edom, okay? The so-called self-proclaimed white man. You join with him in the destruction of the Lord's chosen people. There's a penalty, a very harsh penalty to pay for that. Okay? And so as the scripture reads, every one of them shall go into captivity. So check this out.
Is a trainee teacher.
What do you say to somebody who lives in Bristol who's horrified by the fact that this is gone?
People might say it's vandalism, but black people have to walk these streets. Black slaves built Bristol. We have to walk these streets and see that statue of Colston's every day. That's what it means. That statue is a kick in the face to all black people.
There has been a growing campaign in recent years to remove Colston's name from buildings across the city. But many feel destroying the statue was the wrong way to do it. Tonight, there was a small counter-protest, claiming local history had been trashed.
Sheer vandalism and disorder completely is unacceptable, and it's right actually the police follow up on that and make sure that justice is undertaken with those individuals that are responsible for such disorderly and lawless behaviour.
Avon and Somerset police say they deliberately took a low-key approach to the whole protest due to sensitivities, safety and social distancing.
Some people will look at this and think, hang on a minute, you should have intervened, you should have stepped in, you should have at least challenged the behaviour that was happening.
But this was a very difficult policing operation. There's a lot of context that sits around it, and I believe we did the right thing.
No regrets?
No regrets.
Well, this evening, people are coming down here, laying placards, and many of them just standing, looking in disbelief at what has happened here. That in one afternoon, this city has challenged its history and changed its landscape. John Kay, BBC News, Bristol.
Elsewhere, protests took place in several parts of the country, with thousands gathering at the US Embassy in London. A small number remained near Downing Street into this evening, and they have just been ordered to disperse by police. Chichi Zundu reports.
Another day where thousands have marched peacefully against racism.
Black is not a crime! Being black is not a crime!
In London, the focus was the US Embassy.
I'm from Oakland, California. So I grew up with a lot of police violence around me, and it's something I don't want my son to experience in his life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm in this country, because it is less violent, but there's still racism, so we have to fight it. So therefore, we're here today.
This is my deep passion, and I'm here because I believe that black people deserve the same chance as everybody else.
We need to tackle racism, and we've never really dealt with it in this country and many countries, and there comes a time when we all have to speak up.
In Glasgow, protesting safely during the pandemic was a concern for organisers.
I think the turnout's amazing, it's really inspiring, and it's amazing.
This is Zechariah chapter 2 verse 8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, After the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. So you have to understand that we're coming into the end now. And very soon these people will wake up and understand that these are the Jews of the Bible. Out here in America, the so-called Negroes, okay, in various parts of West Africa, okay, and all over the world, sporadically mingled among the nations. And so, doing harshly to the children of Israel is suicide. And so, there's a recompense coming, and it's going to start with the Lord. It's going to start with Yahweh Shai coming in the clouds. He's going to crack the sky, and he's going to subdue all the nations very violently, if I might add. Okay.
See people already taking social distancing measures seriously and doing the best they can to stay safe today.
In Wrexham, people also protested mindful of the 2-metre social distancing. This was the M6, which was partially closed for 1 hour after protesters blocked the roads. But the day has been marred by a minority. 27 police officers have been injured during this week's demonstrations, but that number is likely to rise after this evening. Bottles, traffic cones and other objects were thrown at officers as they tried to clear protesters out of Whitehall.
It's been a week of protests across the UK and thousands have taken to the streets to have their voices heard. But where does this go and what happens next? Gigi Zindu, BBC News.
We're experiencing the end of Esau. Okay. Esau is going to be made bare among the heathen. So among all the heathen, he's going to be made the lowest. And so, I'll close out there, giving our praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Bahashem Rakar Kadash, and to you Akim out there. The end is near. Gird up your loins and keep fighting the fight of faith. Okay, Shalom.